Today we're going to talk about Ecuador, the major exporter of oil, flowers, cocoa, bananas, shrimps, rice, cotton, coffee and julians. In the central square of a small town made of old colonial houses, clay-tiled roofs and wooden balconies in Ecuador, there is a church, and as it usually happens, the whole square and church are the focal point of the town. But the most peculiar thing of this church is that it's different from almost all the other churches in the country. A few years ago, the city had invested some money to rebuild the whole square, and as it usually happens, the money weren't well spent. Works lasted longer than usual, but they eventually managed to finish everything, and the church now sits on this beautiful square with beautiful lights and beautiful flower beds, surrounded by green fences. The square now looks really nice. But when the town received the money from the government, they decided to do something a little bit different. They bought a different type of fence that for safety issues isn't usually used in the rest of the country. Do you know those small spare top fences? Let me show you. These. And this is where our research started. Because it is in this church that people prayed for Sophia's operation to go well, because Sophia already had an operation. In my previous video on this subject, I explained you how long it took me to decide what to do, for many reasons. First one was, let's wait for them to do the right thing. And we even tried to tell them to do the right thing, but it didn't work. Second, with a kid involved, I'm always willing to turn the other side. Just like when at the supermarket you see a kid biting or dropping an apple on the floor, you laugh it off and pretend you haven't seen anything because they are kids. And third, because I wanted to be 100% sure I hadn't missed anything. And by anything, I mean anything. So from that fence, we contacted the church, the city office, the hospital, relative, friends, co-workers, booked interviews with professionals. We literally checked everything to get this right. In case he ended up in the news or with the police involved, like many other GoFundMe cases, we wanted to have everything documented. Meanwhile, we asked GoFundMe to block the withdraw option. We talked to them a few days after the April 13th update was published because we were just shocked. They waited for us to finish our investigation, so there was some kind of communication. And this has been going on behind the scenes from roughly the 13th till the day we published our video. As you already know, the campaign was shut down, everyone got refunded, and ONiSiON decided to play victim. If you haven't watched this video, you should. Linked in the description down below. And then come back here. If you have, this is where we start today. So let's analyze what ONiSiON said in his video. But before doing so, let me be very clear. I believe Greg was not involved in this scam. The only reason I brought him up was for his 31 tweets. And now because he's shamelessly twisting facts and bending reality to basically support a scam. But I'll walk you through what he said to show you that his own logic doesn't fit the narrative he's trying to push. So let's see what he had to say. Hey guys, you remember the whole charity that we did for that little girl? She was like needing heart surgery, and I don't know what's going on with that because I don't know the people. STEPANKA apparently didn't know the people, but they were legitimate based on everything I've seen. And unfortunately, a sad way to prove their legitimacy is that they refunded everybody and they left a message saying that they couldn't deal with all the harassment and stuff that came out of them running this campaign for the little girl. So I got refunded what I donated, STEPANKA got refunded what she donated, everybody else, all the money that we collectively helped raise got refunded. I guess these people being in debt with the hospital or whatever is less stressful to them than dealing with you all, accusing them of scamming, etc. So they wanted to protect their child from the internet. They wanted to protect their family from all the harassment that they got. Okay, let's stop here. So, what he's saying is that harassment to the family, which there wasn't, was worse than saving their little girl. There was someone being mean to STEPANKA, but we'll get to that soon. ONiSiON also says that being in debt to the hospital or whatever is less stressful to them than dealing with you all. Okay, Greg here, for the first time in the video, acknowledges reality, which is the family being in debt with the hospital, and not the child needing $25,000 for a life-saving surgery dying in the hospital. So, he's saying that the family has given up on their little girl because online harassment, which apparently is much more stressful. If this was the case, wouldn't you just want to die instead of living with these parents? And that's the evil genius at work. This weird conspiracy bullshit that engulfs the ONiSiON and the anti-ONiSiON communities have always popped around them. This is exactly what this psychotic internet troll is suggesting. They wanted to protect their child from the internet, but not from a heart defect. On this show, we spend weeks, months, or even years to research stuff, but allowing ONiSiON to get away with that video, discrediting reality, is like not pointing out that when Madison Cambria on March the 18th tweeted, or when I told him his guinea pigs had fleas and needed fresh bedding and their nails were so long they were curling, he told me, I'm not gonna do those things, so if you wanna do it, then take them. We found this picture. And now we are not really sure what to think anymore. It looks like he's fucking a guinea pig. Look at those little hands. He's like, I didn't sign for this shit, let me go! Here Greg tries to play the victim card, but what he's saying doesn't match with reality. And I think it's my turn to apologize because, this wouldn't have happened if I didn't promote the campaign, because everything I do, pretty much, people just assume is the worst thing in the world, because people are nuts. I have no other explanation other than people are completely and utterly nuts. So nuts. Anything I touch is immediately perceived to be the worst thing in the world, it seems. My own associations in my own life, like you guys, say that they are a terrible person if they stand by me, and if they say whatever you want to hear them say, they are a hero. And this is kind of a toxic mentality that a lot of people have. If you are against me, you are evil. If you are with me, you are a saint. And that's not how the world works, okay? The truth is that you should be happy about it, because now that we know the child isn't and wasn't dying at the time of the campaign, and that the family was just trying to repay a debt using old pictures of the little kid to win everyone's heart, people that got refunded can finally donate the money to someone else that is actually dying. But of course, he doesn't even suggest the possibility to redonate to someone else that is currently really dying, because he doesn't really care about helping others. It takes about 3 minutes on GoFundMe to find a legitimate campaign and tell everyone to redonate the money refunded to make this experience not a complete waste of time. But he doesn't do that because helping others has never been his goal. His goal was all about looking good, being able to say, we've saved a child. Greg understands this. He's not stupid. And decided instead to play the victim for his retarded audience. He wants to show how bad everyone is and how helpless he is. This is a technique that people use for 2 purposes. 1, justification to themselves to deal with their inconsistencies between the way they treat others and what they believe about themselves. 2nd, which is what I believe is happening here, justification to others as a strategy to evading or deflecting harsh judgment or condemnation they may fear from others, which tells me that Greg actually cares about people's opinion. But let's move on. Now, you might be surprised, but I actually agree with him here. There are lots of people on my side who are not perfect. There are lots of people on my side who do shameful things. There are people on your side who do shameful things, and there are people on your side who are definitely not perfect. If we view the world as a lot more balanced, things are a lot more sane. But we don't like to view each other as human beings online. We like to view each other as the worst thing since Hitler. Constantly. So many of us do that. And I think it's a way of our own narcissism. It's a way of making ourselves feel better about everything that is going on and feeling like a hero, feeling like we're doing something good when really social media is mostly just a total waste of time. But while I understand what he's saying, I still feel bad about it. I am the reason this campaign failed, and I feel bad this family didn't get the money. I was willing to look the other side if they didn't start deleting comments. So it hasn't been easy for anyone. And it wasn't about feeling like a hero. Otherwise, we would have made the video after 5 days and we would have never told the family to do the right thing. When it comes to scams involving kids, it is never easy for anyone. And the most important thing to remember is that there are no winners. Now, Greg here acknowledges reality for the second time. You'll see how he moves from being in debt to the hospital to a little girl who needed heart surgery.
But long story short, we raised over $8,000 for a little girl who needed heart surgery.
Now, while we've already traced down 90% of the people that donated, we do have a problem with one anonymous donation of $5,000. Why am I skeptical about that? For two reasons. First, we cannot identify the person yet. Second, we actually believe this is Stepanka or someone involved with the scam to simply inflate the donation count. It is a simple psychological trick. If a campaign has lots of money, you tend to believe it's legitimate. Just like we assume a packed restaurant must be better than an empty one. Or a large channel has better content than a smaller one. Which is obviously not the case. And he also says,
now, at this point of the video, ONiSiON shows a screenshot written by Diana saying that her personal info were exposed when that has never been the case. The only thing my team and I exposed was the scam. She understood we had all the information because we told her. She probably watched our video and understood that there was no way out and decided to just lie for fear to get in trouble in the US. It is actually a common thing all these people do. They lie all the times. You'll see in a moment. But back to what ONiSiON says in the video. He says, but long story short, we raised over $8,000 for a little girl who needed heart surgery. And the family of that little girl decided that they would rather deal with the bills than deal with you guys. So it is super tragic.
Yes, this is tragic. If your parents would rather let you die than dealing with harassment virtually no one has seen, yes, it's super fucking tragic. And don't be surprised by his own logic here, because this is a 35-year-old man suggesting a family is willing to sacrifice their kid's life over some comments, which is actually on brand, because if there's something Greg is good at, it's fucking kids forever. But let's move on. Now, here we experience his third shift from reality to Avaroiland.
So, it is super tragic, like we raised so much money for this little girl and it didn't go through. So, the lesson I've learned here is I cannot be involved in helping people because if I try to help people, then it will hurt them because everybody who sees me helping them will assume that they are somehow evil, when really this was just an innocent family trying to help their little girl. So, thanks for the lesson, and I am sorry to the family for not foreseeing them being bombarded with criticism and hate, because, you know, if it wasn't for me, they would have still have like $800 or something towards their campaign, maybe more. And because I got involved, it got up to 8,000 and people just said it was a scam and they couldn't handle it anymore and they refunded everybody.
The girl now is again dying or needs urgent help, and because he needs to sell it as an emergency, he feels the need to repeat one more time that the parents would rather let their child die or suffer than actually carry on with the campaign. And here is the most interesting part of the video to me. He tells his viewers not to check our video exposing the scam, but to talk to one of the scammers.
If you want more information on this, please go to Twitter. Stepanka has been talking about it.
Yes, she has been talking about it, but the only person here who has all the information, apart from this little girl family, is us. So let me educate you, because after I called her out the first time, Stepanka went in super defensive mode and has publicly made some very bold and interesting statements that now you too can call lies. Now, keep in mind, I already knew what was going on since the very beginning, and I've never moved away from my statements. But look at what she says and keep an eye on the dates.
So, on April the 13th, they published on GoFundMe that fake update saying they needed $25,000 to save their kid, who was basically dying on a hospital bed, and that the kid just wanted to go back home. An update
That then was deleted. On May the 3rd, I tweeted this. At ONiSiON, do not let STEPANKA MATTO'S withdraw the GoFundMe money. They lied to us all. The child is fine. She was already okay. You saved no one, sorry. My video is coming. Sorry, I had to think. And added, I stand by every single word I have written. My opinion might be wrong, my data is not. I'll give you just that. Please wait for my video, I won't say anything else. At this point, people started asking her questions, and some pointed out that the whole thing always smelled like a scam. But no one before my tweet actually really talked about it. On May the 3rd at 1:35, she tweeted, like I said in my pinned tweet, this GoFundMe was reported for being suspicious by users. The family of Sofia has had to come forward with documentation to verify everything. Any questions you still have, contact GoFundMe. This is my last tweet about this. Well, it wasn't. In fact, she carries on with 1:59. Listen, Gwen, I understand people are concerned. If you would like, I can also loop you in with emails with the support team at GoFundMe. Everything has been verified. I have no ideas what else I can within my means to prove this, but I know GoFundMe can. She actually did provide something, these two screenshots, but what she showed wasn't proof of anything. This is a cheap trick to make lazy people that don't even bother to check things out believe something that isn't true. See these emails? This is just rubbish. At 2:02, support@gofundme.com. They have all the info. Please contact them. I hope you can understand I cannot post a baby's medical records online, let alone a baby that isn't mine. I strongly urge you to look into this because I assure you this is all 100% legit. 209. Please contact support@gofundme.com. They have all the information. The GoFundMe was reported as suspicious, and funds were being held until the family was able to provide more documentation. Now, be careful of what she says here. The GoFundMe was reported as suspicious, and funds were being held until the family was able to provide more documentation, which they have. Any questions or concern, just ask the support team. Remember at those tenses, was and they have. But there is more, because a day later, when Mr. Epsions joined the discussion with this tweet, take the fucking time to blur out private stuff. Showing medical records shows that this is legit and not another scam on this site. It is not that hard. She never did, claiming she couldn't for privacy reasons. But one day later, at 6:28, she wrote, "Thank you, the documents have been provided to GoFundMe's security because the fundraiser was flagged as suspicious. So, in order to release funds, they had to provide proof, which they did. These fucking losers need to stop tweeting and contact GoFundMe if they care so much." One of those fucking losers, I guess, was me. And by the way, we contacted GoFundMe 3 weeks earlier to stop them from withdrawing the money, but tweeted this because of the last update on the campaign, this one. We were simply afraid they photoshopped documents and managed to get the fundings before we released our video. So we decided to get in touch with our GoFundMe representative and publish our video 2 days later on May the 6th. But on May the 4th, 2 days before I released my video, when things started getting hot, when people started getting curious about my 2 tweets and upset about her replies, she decided to deactivate her Twitter account until May the 14th. 10 whole days off the radar, while my video exposing the scam was viewed 12,000 times. But eventually she came back with these 2 tweets. "I'm back. I deactivated Twitter because 2 friends passed away last week and the amount of hate I was getting on here was really getting to me. I like Twitter because it's a good place to keep in the know about pop culture, politics, etc. I won't be posting much, but simply checking in. I privated it until more information is provided by the family." Okay, be careful here because 10 days ago, she told everyone that the family already proved everything to GoFundMe. So after my video, things have changed. I'm no longer involved in this. I'm stepping away. I have dealt with the death of 2 friends this past week and I cannot handle this drama. I feel awful. I wanted to help this family. So, before I published the video, the family verified everything. Everything was okay, guys, no problem. I I'm a fucking loser and everything is 100% legit. But once I published the video and proved we already knew everything way before any update, and that we even told the family to do the right thing nearly 20 days before we decided to release the video, she DM'd me on Instagram saying, now remember, she deactivated her Twitter account from the 4th to the 14th, becoming unreachable. But because my Instagram DMs were open at the time, a day before her comeback, on May the 13th, she sends me this private message. This screenshot is actually the only proof of harassment she provided in the last 2 months. Although telling me /us in the DM that you'll soon see, that someone told her your friend deserves to die. To which she provided no proof for 2 months, just her words. And this has been happening all the times with her. Words, words, words. But let's see what she privately told me. My 2 friends passed this week, one of which was a friend receiving treatment at the same cancer center I go to. I understand that you seek the truth and justice, and in a sense I admire that. But just so you know, I deal with my own challenges in life. Health-wise, I've had a lot to deal with and suffer from bone marrow failure. I am without a match, and so I am extremely sympathetic towards ill people. I promoted Sophia's GoFundMe because I felt compelled and that I was doing the right thing. Now I'm receiving awful comments saying things like it was karma and my friends deserved to die. I don't feel like I deserve this. I only try to do the kind thing. Your video has made me doubt my own family friends, and I have removed my video about Sophia. The funds have not been released, and so in the next week or so, if it isn't proven 100% that the GoFundMe was legit, the funds will be automatically refunded to everyone. I offered to send you screenshots of my correspondence with GoFundMe security, as I have been looped in with their messages between them and Diana, the creator of the GoFundMe. Other than that, I do not wish to be part of this anymore. Going forward, I'm never going to promote any GoFundMes because this is just way more hurt and craziness that I can handle mentally and physically. I am currently on immunosuppressive therapy for my conditions, and my blood counts are volatile and drop when I'm stressed. I literally cannot deal with all this, and this is part of the reason I deleted my Twitter. To which I replied with this: thank you for your message. Honestly, I really don't need your messages with GoFundMe, as they have been asking us for the data for weeks. Seriously, my job is over. We literally know more than enough. We still have a couple of questions to answer for our own curiosity, but those will be answered in a matter of weeks or months. Time is not a problem. I am 100% sure of our research and data that we collected, about 5 gigabytes. Now it's up to you to do the right thing. Give the money back so that people in urgent need can be helped. All I can do from now on is look closely and think. Best of luck with everything. Joshua. This is how much being slapped with a handful of reality changes things. From that fucking loser, everything is 100% legit, they've sent all the documentation, everything is proven, to they cannot prove anything and we shut down the campaign. I don't want to have anything to do with them anymore. But remember, Stepanka is not just a liar. She's like Greg, a manipulator, because while she told me the truth to kind of convince me to be nice to her publicly, a day or two later, she wrote again this. I always give people benefit of the doubt. If someone is struggling or needs help, I always step up to the plate and offer all I can. I trust people until they give me a reason not to. As far as I know, the GoFundMe was legit, but I'm stepping away now, and going forward, I will never endorse another one ever again. I will only donate privately and keep to myself. This has been such an awful experience. I did not predict this short storm, and it hurts me so bad now. Because in the beginning, I felt so proud of myself for taking initiative and helping someone. And on May the 17th, the day the GoFundMe campaign was shut down, while privately telling me the campaign would be shut down if the family could not provide anything to GoFundMe, publicly she again wrote this. Diana chose to have the GoFundMe refund everyone and have it deleted due to repeat harassment. Honestly, not surprised. I have seen no absolute proof that this was a scam, only speculation. I am being refunded as well. To understand Stepanka, you first have to understand ONiSiON, because she's basically Greg with boobs, a magnificent liar and mind manipulator. And if you need more proof, look at her content, thumbnails and the things she says. She knows how to play with people's emotion. There is so much more about her. We've been looking into her for the last 2 months, but today we don't have time, so let's see what else Greg had to say.
If you want more information on this, please go to Twitter. Stepanka has been talking about it.
Yeah, I think we've already established her game. We can move on.
She's been letting all the criticism to get to her. I don't know why, because it's all about what you choose to engage in. My tattoo, do not engage. Like you have a choice. You can subject yourself to the ridicule of others, or you could just ignore it. And a lot of people don't have enough experience. They don't have enough self-reflection to realize that all this stuff online is bull, okay? It's just a bunch of people sitting behind their computers or behind their phones saying whatever nasty thing they can. It doesn't matter, and everybody is hated,
Now, Greg is correct here. Everyone is hated, and things don't matter because the internet isn't real, it's bull. If you were in the 90s. But today, the internet is real life. If your name is linked to something horrible online, that will affect you forever. The internet is real life. But he's right, you should ignore hate, and he's an expert on this. Although I think Greg is an idiot, I must admit, the guy is one of the strongest people I know. Whether or not what he does is good or bad, the man has been getting hate for the past 10 years, but he's still smiling at the camera doing his stuff. And it is not a little thing. Yes, Greg is way stronger than anyone I know. But he also wants you to believe he's not engaging with anyone anymore. Although his copyright strikes tell a different story. His tattoo says do not engage, but maybe he has a fine print right at the bottom that says publicly, behind the scene you're allowed to slander and harass as many bastards as you can. Because you have an awesome vegetarian body with a beautiful peanut-sized penis. Hey! Size doesn't matter. Buy a big house, destroy nature, and pretend to be gay. No one will notice that. Who knows? I'm just speculating here. But let's move on. Now, this is the part many have criticized Greg for.
Abraham Lincoln had someone hate him so much that he got shot, okay? But he was a great man. So what I'm saying is, no matter who you are, if you get a lot of criticism, don't let the internet be your validator.
Yes. Many of you have criticized him for kind of comparing himself to a man of the 19th century. And by the way Greg treats women, I think that's a pretty accurate comparison. And that's not the only thing they have in common. They share lots of things. For example, Abraham Lincoln served his country. ONiSiON too. And as he describes his time in the military in a video titled Honorable Discharge, you shouldn't criticize a legitimate veteran who served in a wartime with South Korea and North Korea. It's true, the tension there has always been high between the two countries, but while in places like Afghanistan people literally die every single day, in Korea nobody really gives a shit about it. Americans serving in South Korea have the same freedom of and commodities of the people serving in Japan. They can rent houses, have cars, bring their families, bring their wives, go to supermarkets, go to the seaside, which is nothing like real war places. I mean, you can still die by falling off a bed, but not quite like in Afghanistan. The truth is that serving in South Korea or Japan today is the equivalent of masturbating with your hand and then bragging about never contracted gonorrhea. Also, Lincoln was basically self-educated. Despite becoming a successful lawyer, Lincoln did not have a degree. Greg has the educational background of an hamster capable of switching a PC on, enter the correct password, and Google what's the legal age in... Okay, doesn't matter. What's the legal age? Question mark. One said, nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. While the other one said, I'm a banana. Different sentences, but similar effect that define them perfectly. But let's move on. Now, towards the end of the video, ONiSiON for a moment agrees that their decision is suspicious and a second later throws the conspiracy theory back in, saying, I don't understand this. If I had a little girl and she was getting heart surgery and people were saying I was a scammer and I knew I wasn't a scammer, then I would just accept the money because I know I'm not a scammer, right? So why would I turn away all these awesome funds, you know? And I guess maybe their mentality was that if they accepted the money, then they would be harassed forever, and if they just simply refunded it, they wouldn't be harassed anymore. But that's not how it works. I've had all kind of stuff come up in my past. People accusing me of things, people just being horrible, and it all dies in time. It all goes away, and you would still have the money if you didn't refund everybody. Exactly! This is not how it works. And whether you have all data we have collected or not, everyone understands they try to bank $25,000, a year's salary, under false pretenses. Therefore, that's a scam. And he concludes with this. It all goes away, and you would still have the money if you didn't refund everybody. But you refunded everybody, and now I feel kind of crappy because I didn't donate them much, but what I did donate, I wanted this family to have. Anyway, this is why I cannot promote charities, because they would be turned into something terrible, even if they're not. Greg is correct when he says I feel kind of crappy because I didn't donate that much, but what I did donate, I wanted this family to have. It's understandable, and I'm sorry he feels bad about it, but so do all the people that donated believing they were actually saving a child, when in reality, they were simply repaying a family's debt. And coming out saying, anyway, this is why I cannot promote charity because they would be turned into something terrible even though they are not, is the worst attitude possible, because this disposable menstrual cup has a reach of about 20,000 views per video, which is equal to about 5,000 people and 15,000 bots. But it could still do so much good. But it seems that just like his failed attempt to manipulate reality, suggesting the family cared more about harassment than saving their child's life, he too cares more, making everything about himself, and walked the Via Dolorosa on the way to his own self-crucifixion, than genuinely doing something good for another fucking human being. Otherwise, his video would have ended with this. Hey guys, can you please get the money you've received and donate it to someone in need? Yesterday it wasn't a child, but today we can still save a life. There's a ton of people currently needing money because apparently we waste too much buying houses and Teslas rather than doing something good. You don't need to make a video about it or tweet it out, because the most important thing is just doing good, no bragging about it. Promise me you will redonate that money. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.